Hey guys, so today I have the swatches of the Essie Seaglass Shimmers collection. There is the summer collection and the Seaglass Shimmers collection that kind of dropped at the same time. There are 6 polishes here all together. Where did I find these? I pre-ordered these. I pre-ordered these on Amazon back in like February. It was a huge risk because of how like Amazon, like when things come directly from Amazon, how they're packaged. And when I first pre-ordered them, I did these in the summer collection at the same time, and they told me it would ship in 12 different boxes, which was like really excessive, but probably the best thing considering how Amazon ships them. They shipped 8 in one box, 2 in another box, 1 in another box, and to my shock, none of them were broken. They were packaged like I always complain about, typical like Amazon packaging, but none of them were broken, which is a miracle. But now you can get these a lot of places online that aren't Amazon, so you can actually get some bubble wrap. Anyway, 6 polishes all together, and I'll get into the swatches. So the first polish is called Don't Be Salty, and this is a very light, almost nude pink with this strong silver shimmer. So this one is pretty sheer on that first coat. You do get a ton of shimmer though. And even though it's sheer, it does cover pretty evenly. And a good formula on this as well. So this one is still pretty sheer on that second coat. I can see my nail line pretty clearly. That being said, it has built up much better on the second coat, or built up much more, considering how sheer the first coat was. This is a very, very strong shimmer in it, but it's more of a, I don't know how to say it, coarser looking shimmer, so you don't really have any brush strokes through it at all. So this one covers almost completely on that third coat. There's a little bit of nail line showing for me, but it is very, very minor. Can only see it from certain angles, and the shimmer really helps distract from it. That third coat also helps build that color up a bit and make it a little bit more solid, and that pink shows up much better. You can see some, I said before, you really don't have any brush strokes. You can see some like lines through the shimmer here when it's wet, but those do completely go away as it dries. And this shimmer is just fine enough that you don't have to worry about scrubbing your nail at all to get it off. So that is 3 coats of Don't Be Salty. The next polish is called At Sea Level, and this is a really shimmery, almost like minty blue-green. And I feel like from very extreme angles, looking at the bottle, I can see a little tiny bit of a pink flash. This is another one that's going to be pretty sheer because it is such a light color. Fairly even though. The shimmer, I think, is exactly the same as what was in the last one. It's just slightly brushstrokey when it's wet, but that does go away as it dries. And the formula is the same as well, not too thick, not too thin. I can see where if you work this a lot, you would get some patches where the brush can kind of remove the polish that you've already put on your nail, so you do want to be a little bit careful with it. So this one is starting to build up here, but is still a bit sheer on that second coat, which isn't super surprising because, again, it is such a light color. I felt like I could see that little bit of a pink flash on the first coat, even better really than I could see it in the bottle, but I also feel like I'm losing it a little bit on that second coat. And these all dry really smooth. There's no grit or texture at all to the shimmer. So this one does cover almost completely on that third coat. It's just like the last one where it's very, very hard to pick out that nail line. You really have to be looking for it. And I take back what I said about the pink shimmer because I moved it out of these really bright lights and it still stands out pretty well. So it's going to depend on the lighting, but in a little bit dimmer light or indirect light, I was able to see that pink shimmer. So that is 3 coats of At Sea Level. The next polish is called Coral Coast, and this is a peach, like a gold peach. It has a cool gold kind of flash to it, and then that shimmer, which I would think is the same shimmer, but it definitely doesn't look silver in this polish, so it might be different. So this one is also pretty sheer on that first coat. It definitely looks like more of a gold shimmer, and this not super, super gold, but it doesn't look as silver and icy as it does in the last two, or as it did in the last 2 polishes. And a good formula on this one as well. So this one is starting to build up on the second coat, but I am still going to add a third. It's hard to pick up on camera and it does disappear when I like really tilt my nails back, but I do still have some nail line that I want to cover up. So this one does cover completely on that third coat. And the third coat does help build that color up a bit as well. And some of these shimmers do stick to the skin when you take the polish off, but like I said before, they won't stick to the nail or be difficult to remove. So that is 3 coats of Coral Coast. The next polish is called The World Is Your Oyster, and this is a shimmery kind of medium purple. It also has these little tiny silver holographic micro glitters in there. I'll tell you right now, they don't show up very well on the nail, but you can see them here in the bottle. So this one is also a bit sheer on that first coat. And the same as the other polishes, a few brush strokes through the shimmer, but those do go away as it dries. And there's so much shimmer going on, especially on the first coat where it's a little bit more sheer. I know there are some of those little holographic glitters on my nails, but I can't really pick them out right now. I think they'll be a little bit easier to pick out as it builds up. So this one is still pretty sheer on the second coat. It looks a little bit more sheer in person from the angle that I'm sitting at than it does on camera. Again, looking very closely at it, it is really hard to see where those holographic glitters are, but out in the sun, and when you're moving your hand around, you can pick up like a little holographic flash here and there. I forgot to mention the formula on this is good, and those little holographic glitters are going to add a little bit of texture. They're going to feel a little bit rough, so you will want top coat. So this one does cover completely in 3 coats. I'm still trying to look really closely at my nails and try to get those holographic glitters to show up. I can see like fleeting glimpses of holographic, like the rainbow reflection, but you really can't pick them out super well. But I do have to give Essie credit for trying to do something a little bit different. I guess this whole collection is different as far as Essie goes. So that is 3 coats of World Is Your Oyster. The next polish is You, Me, and the Sea, and this is a darker pink with that silver shimmer. This one is a little bit sheer on that first coat, but it's the most opaque out of all the colors so far because it is a bit darker. And again, a few brush strokes through that shimmer, but those do smooth out as it dries. And good formula on this one as well. So this one does cover completely in 2 coats. I did my thinnest coat here on my pointer finger. I think I tend to always do that. But on the rest of my nails, where I did a little bit thicker of a coat, it was really close to being opaque in one. But I do think that second coat, I don't know, brightens the color a little bit more, makes it a little bit more saturated. So that is 2 coats of You, Me, and the Sea. And the last polish is called High Tides and Dives, and this is I would just call it a brown, honestly, like a shimmery brown, but it has this very like antique-y metallic kind of look to it. So this one is a bit sheer on that first coat, not quite as opaque as the pink was. I did have a lot of polish running down my brush there. I do feel like this formula is just a little bit thinner than the rest have been. Still pretty easy to control, but you do want to watch those drips down the stem. So this one actually does cover completely in 2 coats. If you're very, very picky or do very thin coats, I think you might end up needing 3, but I don't think that's very likely. And that second coat does help bring out that kind of brown. It's more metallic than anything, but I just cannot think of the right like metal to describe this, so I'm going to call it brown. It helps bring out that brown tone a little bit. Is it like an antique gold? I don't know. So that is 2 coats of High Tides and Dives. So I have a favorite and I have an honorable mention. So my favorite is Coral Coast, which actually kind of shocked me. I feel like this looked 10 times better on my nails than it did in the bottle. I went through this collection, I'm kind of like, about shimmers, and this I really, really, really liked. You know, I like the pink and gold combination. It's not, I mean, this is really orangey. It's not pink at all. It's like way hard peach, but I did really, really like this on my nails. It kind of glowed. It wasn't like a streaky, brush strokey shimmer. Really, really cool. I have to give an honorable mention to World Is Your Oyster because it does have little holographic sparkles in it, which is like so uncharacteristic of Essie to go anywhere outside of cream. And obviously the whole collection was not creams, but it had little holographic sparkles. They didn't show up very well, but they're in there and they tried. So good job, Essie. A little pat on the head for Essie for trying to put some holographic in their polishes. But Coral Coast, if you get anything out of the collection, that's the one you need. So that is the Essie Seaglass Shimmers collection for summer 2018. I don't have anything to link because I got those on Amazon. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you later. Bye.